Hello? Hello, is anyone out there? Save me! Are you back? Am I back? Are we back? Well. Well. Thank you, Stream Elements. What in the hell is going on? Am I like cursed today? That is... Okay, so it looks like it's back up. What is going on? Okay, we were looking at this. Let's close this. That was toxic, apparently. Just merge it. Jesus. What in the hell? It is not my day. I get... Well, that's what it is. That's what it is. Gods are unhappy. Man. Can you believe it? Can you believe it? They are not happy. Well, at least it let me come back on, and all I had to do is like click the start stream on the OBS, and everything seemed to no need for that. This aggression will not stand. Okay, 2 repos in ECR is what we were going for. Now that we got that all good, I'm not gonna mess with this yet. We are gonna go into global. Yep, we're gonna go into global. Oh my goodness. Go into deploy, global. Yep, we're gonna do this. This is a little perverted. I'm gonna use my command line to touch backend. That's just how it goes. Okay, I'm going to touch backend. Backend TF. So this is where we're gonna, again, it's just like S3. I'll probably copy paste most of that crap. And then we'll just do this for now. For now, we'll just do the 2. We'll just do that, and it's like this. You could just copy all that and paste that and change some names. So nope, that's fine. The only thing I want to change is I'm going to call this ECR and ECR state. Right? Be tiny. So this will be for the JSON server API image repository. And that will be for the GraphQL server. Okay, cool. ECR is actually pretty dead simple in Terraform. I mean, all you're doing is you're saying, I mean, I'm implicitly providing like credentials and a region and all of that kind of crap to create it in. But you really just tell it the name of what you want your repository to be in the registry. That's it. You don't have to specify anything else. That said, so the first one we want to do, let's figure out a name that makes sense. And based on our compose file, in our name doesn't... I wonder if it is kind of the same as S3. I don't think it is. I know it's account level. I don't... We'll just try it with this. So we'll say API server, GraphQL server. That's just what we'll do. So resource, ECR, repository. And the second argument that you apply, the second argument, this is not like effecting change in AWS. This is what things are called in your Terraform managed state. So I'm just gonna call it API server. And we'll have another one that we'll do in a minute, but we'll just do a name. That's all you have to do. And we'll call it just API server. And if we pop over here, it's gonna say we have to init, I bet you. And we still put it in the global. Yep, we still want it in global. That version is fine. We're requiring Terraform, good region, good encrypt. That table's good, and we change our table key. So let's try validate. And it says, we don't know about your backend. You touched your backend, but tell us about your backend. Okay. I'm sure there's probably a better term for that. We'll validate it. We'll see what it's going to make for us. Yep, it's going to do that. And actually, I'm curious, because I think so, but I'm not sure. Yes, it should be able to do tags. Yes, so I could see. Tags. A name is required, just a name of it. Doesn't matter, you call this whatever you want. These are the things that you would want to output. We'll do that here in a second. As soon as we create both of them, we'll go do it. And you'll be able to see that with tags and outputs and whatnot, you're not really affecting the resource, so it should just show as a change. Not a big deal. So we'll do another one while things are working. ECR repository. I'm going to call this one GraphQL server. And you notice that like this is a candidate for global because this doesn't matter about where you're deploying things. It's an artifact, right? Okay. So we got this. So we can do that, and it'll say requesting lock, and then releasing state lock. So it's gonna do both these. Let's just do it. Say apply. It's usually pretty quick. Now right here, after you apply, you'll notice that this ARN name, registry ID, and repository URL corresponds relatively well with the Terraform documentation of what your attribute reference is. This is what I was saying is you would want to output this for things to be able to easily read it. Because if I did right now, if I did TF show, right? And TF is my shorthand bash thing for Terraform. It gives me a whole bunch of crap, right? It says this is the thing. These are the two things we know about. If I do TF output, it's not saying anything. It's not. I get to be in control of what comes out when I say output. So let's do the outputs real quick. So right here, and we can split this into a different file if we want, and I think we probably wanna. Maybe we want to do that. Think about that. Well, we know we're going to need the URL, so we'll say output. We'll call it API server URL. Because that's going to be the URL is going to be very important to read because we gotta start telling things how to push and pull to it. So it's going to be value, and it's a string interpolation, and we're going to grab the AWS API server .url. This should work, I think. Oops, TF output. Plan. Maybe I have to do that. Oh, whoops. Of course, that's kind of dumb. It wouldn't be that. What would it be? Just show repository URL. Jesus. Okay. Let me see. Plan. Yeah, so 2 OBS crashes, one right before I went on. Yeah, I think actually we'll probably just go ahead and do this. Because I think that's what I had to do to get that working, is do an outputs file. And we just do this. So if I do that, whoops. What if I actually have to do an apply for it to put the stuff? Maybe. Yeah, there we go. Okay. So even though when I put the output in here, it didn't show that there was anything to like push out, there kind of still is. It just is not a resource change. So while we're at it, we're going to go ahead and add the other one too, and this is going to be copy this convention that one of my coworkers started using, which is really cool for naming stuff. We'll do the same thing. This other one. We're calling it this. Do another output. Output dot repository URL. Value is ECR. You should find it. GraphQL server dot repository URL. So I've slowed down the delay on my syntax, like pop-up highlighting thing. I think that's what's tripping me up for some of these things, and I call it a different thing because it's not popping up, but it should work now, where it sets up my outputs for both those. Yep, so I've got outputs for both those. There's URLs. It's no push, no pull by default unless you're the creator, and so we'd have to open that up. But I do want to show you adding tags. So the documentation said that we can do tags, and we'll want to do some tags. So say name is, and environment is, and managed edged. I could spell managed is. I don't care. I'm just going to copy paste this. Eventually, I'm going to want to abstract some of this stuff out. You wait for the duplication to arise. Okay. This is going to be API server ACR repository. The environment is going to be ops and it is managed by that. All good. All good. Cool. So now, if I do a plan, registry, tier and small typo in repository in graph. Hang on. Let me check. Repository URL in the output of graph. Outputs. Let me go. Outputs. Output. Uh-oh. Hang on. Repository. what is my small typo? I do this a lot. Output. Graph. QL. Server. Oh, I got you. Right here. Right here, right? There we go. And luckily, that's one of those things that's not going to affect a resource, but thank you very much. Good catch. Good catch. Hey, so I lost 20 minutes debugging a transposition of 2 letters in Workspace. Repository. We should be good. And so this is, you'll see that the change to the output doesn't cause a change in the resource. And this is one of, it trips me up every time when I'm spitting those out and it says I don't have to change anything. Well, yeah, really you do. It just, it doesn't seem to report like it's a change. Typing is hard. Yeah, well, I'm still getting used to mechanical keyboards in general, but I've also noticed I've had to be like a little more careful on my fingernail length. I used to be a nail biter for like a long time, and then even when I would stop doing that, I would just like cut them really short. But now I've kind of broken some of those habits, and I'm like, man, these things grow all the time, and if they touch the keys, like even if one is too long and it touches a key weird, it throws me off. We will terraform apply this. Cool. Alright, so we should have these, and I think if I'm still logged in, which I am, on StreamOps. StreamOps. Let's go to ECR. So we got these two. It's got a URL. It's, you know, they're pretty locked down. There's no images up there. That's fine. We haven't done it yet. Cool. Permissions. I don't have any statements. Lifecycle policy is kind of important. By the way, you have a soft limit on the number of images per repository that you can push. So yeah, you got lifecycle, you got tags, and I have a tag here, so I've got the API server for this one. Yeah. Now, it's weird. It's like AWS is shifting their UI design, and I like this. I just wish it wasn't a slow freaking rollout to everything else. But anyway, so we have 2 repos on ECR. We're gonna have to clean this up and commit it, and that may be all that we do today. So I do have some game prep and whatnot to do, but let's see how this goes. Which it's already going to be a little plagued because I freaking did this on develop. Not my day. Well, I know what I can do. I will. I'll just do it this way. Git commit. No. Yeah, I got a plan. So I'm going to git add all and git commit. Create to image to Docker image repositories on AWS ECR. Instead of pushing, I'm going to say git checkout, the branch I should have been freaking doing this with, create ECR repositories Now I can do stuff, and then I can say get push, yeah, push that up. Then I'll go back to develop and discard all that crap. I think I can do it. No. Ahead by 1. I'm thinking, what is the command to reset by 1? Go back to 1. It's get reset hard head. Yeah, that's what it was. So I basically like jump back and I'm up to date with develop. So now get branch, if I could spell branch, there we go. Now let's go to, oh, we gotta clean up branches, man. This gets sloppy. Sloppy dev. Get, check out that one. So that's what we're doing. And that's pushed. So let's do it real quick. Do it. Alright. The files that we're doing is dump file. Pull this up, pull this up, pull this up. That's the important part. Let's see. So we got our backend. So can you see how, like, Terraform working as infrastructure as code, if you, for one, don't do dumb stuff like I do with node modules and whatnot, but if you do code and pull request and triage and things like that correctly, and it's the thing evolving your AWS infrastructure, and then you can go in and you can actually verify and see, like, that you have stuff being created. Pretty cool, right? Pretty cool. And this is how you kind of evolve this instead of, man, the alternative is people just pointing and clicking around all over the place, and ain't nobody got time for that. And then you can't reproduce it. Like, I've seen people that literally will write, like, Selenium scripts to go through the console and point and click and do stuff. I'm like, you know, we have scripting for that. Okay, I don't have to approve it, I'm just gonna merge it. Because it's mine. And I'm not breaking anything. Alright, exit review mode, and it does prompt you like, hey, what do you want to do? I want to check out develop. Cool. And I'm still getting used to that. Awesome. So on it, forward, awesome. Cool. Let me recap here, right quick. Actually, let me take another break and then we'll recap. I think we've got some good ideas here. And y'all are so patient for hanging out and helping me with my dumb typos and whatnot. I'll hang out for a few more minutes, but want to make sure we set some good direction on this project because this is a cool thing. I think people will benefit at least from the repo to be able to like look at it as an example, and it's open. I'm not committing any secrets or anything. So I will be back. Hopefully the mic works. OBS doesn't shit the bed on me, and I don't do any more dumb get stuff. So back in a minute. Alright, we're back. We're back. Thanks for sticking with me. This has been an interesting day. It's been a really interesting day. Alright, where was I? We do have this going on. We've got the ECR registry. It's 3. Global. Workspace. Cool. Got this about ready. I do want to do one thing. Let me go back to my stream notes here. All right. So let me see about. Okay. We made the workspace state buckets and the ECR registry. We did get that done. We got this not done, but it's ready. We should probably do that. Yeah. Oh, hang on. So things learned. We'll do a things learned session here. So what did we learn today? Well, we learned that my headset sucks. We already knew that. We learned that for some reason follow alerts from Streamlabs kills Mike. Non-deterministically, because we had someone test that out. It didn't exactly do the thing. So we did learn that. I gotta figure that out. Learned be careful with deleting git ignore when you think it's the git keep file. We should switch to a different naming convention, I think. Yeah, because the .git keep is something I've done for a long time, and it's a pretty standard thing. But holy hell, Escherina, yeah, it occurred to me to do a retrospective, and if I'm in the section of the retro, things learned. What did we learn? You know, and I want you all to post things in chat too. What did we learn? Another good one is that let me think how I want to type this. And this refers to that spelling error. And I ran into this before too, is that the Terraform VS Code integration is still problematic for certain strings. Yeah. VS Code Terraform integration is still problematic for some strings. Yeah, it's not so strongly typed that if you do Terraform validate, it'll be like, oh, by the way, like it, not really spell check. Like I ran into it where it's like literally the Terraform .workspace thing. It just was like, I'm just gonna blow up in your face, and that cost me like 20 minutes to figure out that I had the A and the C transposed. So that's frustrating. Let me think here. What else did we learn here? I'm trying to think. Oh, be patient with attribute suggestions such as URL versus repository URL, they are not that intuitive. They're not. Because I would think it would just be called .url because it is a repository. Why do I have to say it's the repository underscore URL? It's not like it's clashing with a namespace of URL off a thing. So be patient with that or you'll run into errors. Oh, the outputs. That's the other thing we learned is, let me think how to phrase this. So when defining Terraform outputs, Terraform plan will seem to have no changes, but there are changes that require a Terraform apply. Let me do. Okay. So, okay. What else? What else do we learn? What else do we learn? Okay, so we got the outputs. Be patient with the suggestions. VS Code Terraform integration. Deleting, get ignore. Sound alerts. My headset sucks. Yeah. Yeah. Word. Oh. The other one is pay attention to the AWS originating IAM account you sign into in the console. You may not have STS access into all the accounts you think you do, even though they show up on the switch roll drop down. Good to know. Good to know. What else did we learn? I hope you guys have had a good time. It's kind of just a chill thing. We're just making progress. We do have some things that are marked as done that I should figure out how to mark as done. But if we go, I don't need that anymore. I don't need that anymore. Where's my good stuff? I know it ain't that. Yeah, here we go. Cool. So let's take a look at what we did. We know we have this up. We learned a few lessons with that. We made that last time. We validated and made it used this time. Tyrion, learned stuff you can look into. I appreciate that. Like, if you run into stuff too, like, if you see me doing stuff or you have a different idea about how to do a thing, let me know. We're all learning. I mean, I'm a perfect example of nobody knows everything, and sometimes even if we think we know a thing, we don't. And then even if we do know a thing and we know a thing, we still do dumb things. Like committing freaking node modules by deleting your get ignore. We didn't make the logs bucket yet, but we did create the 2 registries with tags and outputs, so that's very good. Been very chill. I have no experience with Terraform or AWS, but since the DevOps team at work use both, it's good to get some context. Yeah, maybe Asherina, I think. So if you're in more of a developer role, and you're working with the DevOps team, then now maybe some of the things that they ask you to do, or when they put up these mountain type requirements of no, you have to do this to go to the cloud, maybe some of this is starting to make sense, that you get to see the other side of the house and what they have to deal with. So for example, when we were going through and we made those adjustments to the Docker container to not have the develop version as the default run command for a Docker container, because in development you're using Compose and you override that and you mount volumes and you do all kinds of stuff. That's not really how it's going to be in the cloud. So maybe knowing some of these terms in kind of how people iterate in the cloud, and they track state changes and they run into problems and all of that. Hopefully, maybe that'll help make for richer conversations. If you get into it, you know, if you ask them, well, why can't I do a thing? Turns out, maybe you'll learn something on this stream, or we'll learn it together that they don't even know. Imagine that. Imagine that. What if they're not even using Terraform? I mean, imagine if you're at a company that doesn't use Terraform and you're like, hey, I heard about this thing. Oh, and do you want to see it in action? I actually follow and potentially subscribe to a person on Twitch that's doing this live, does this for a living, but also under pressure does it live to teach, and the videos are archived off over here in case this is later. See? Stay on brand. Stay on brand. It's me on a Monday. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's one of those things, like, you just have to figure out what is the real ask behind everybody's thing that you think is weird. You know? What is, like, what's really driving it? And if you assume positive intent, that nobody's out to get you, you know, and if they are, it should be quickly found out and they'll be gone. But in general, nobody's out to get you, and things are in place because either they have to be in place, they thought they had to be in place and could be proven wrong, or they didn't have to be in place, but they had to do something, right? So some things are permanent. It's up to you to figure out and learn why. Some things aren't, but it's up to you to figure out why are they not. Kind of investigate. It's really just people and conversations, to be honest. Sharina says, right, I hate having no context and background. I want to understand, at least on a surface level, the systems and reasoning. Yeah, and I mean, these are complicated things. I mean, even just this diagram right here, you give that to someone, what are they going to do with it? Like, if you literally just had this and you gave it to me, I know what to do with this. But if you get to someone else, they'll be like, what is, like, are we playing with blocks? Like what does that mean? What there's no context around this diagram. The context is what we're doing on stream, the activities, the documentation we're trying to build up around it. OBS, this is you. It's OBS. I'm convinced. Okay, sorry. Hasendowski, thank you very much for the follow. That was a nice surprise. As opposed to normal follows that spout out emotes and whatnot, you literally kill my mic. So I'll have to track it down. Don't worry. We have good equipment on the way. Sponsored by... So yeah. Now with the follow, explain the pick. We're building the stuff in AWS literally live on the stream. And we're not doing simple stuff like, oh, we're just going to use like Elastic Beanstalk and we're just going to push some stuff out. No, we're actually building out multi-environment. We're building it the right way. We're using Terraform to manage our infrastructure as code. We have an existing application that contains of 2 containers, 2 Docker containers, and a Docker Compose file that can talk to each other. One of those is a REST API server that has endpoints. The other one is a GraphQL server that serves as an aggregator for that. And we're working to build those both and put them in the cloud. Amazon Web Services. Yes, exactly. Software engineer. I suppose. That's a good way to put it. Yeah. Yep, exactly. AWS, it's just the acronym, but they built a bunch of stuff to power their shopping store, and they decided to pull that stuff out and make it a thing that they could sell. And in fact, they make more money from AWS than they do from the Amazon store, as far as company profit, which is kind of cool. It's a little scary, but yeah. Yep, there's other cloud providers as well. Microsoft has Azure. Google has Google Cloud Engine. Google. Yeah, it's how it. Yeah, it's how it actually makes its money. Exactly, it funds all the other stuff. What is Google's called? Google Cloud. Yeah, no worries, no worries. You have no clue what this is. Well, you know, you're kind of jump. Yeah, Google GCP, Google Cloud Platform. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. No clue what this is, so don't get pissed off when I ask you, rookie. I don't get pissed off. It ain't no worries. I do want to help, but to be fair, we're pretty late on the stream. I usually try to go for about 2 hours, so we're about an hour and a half over. But with your follow, you'll be notified when I go live. So I have a schedule that I stream. Yeah, we're learning together. We're making mistakes together. We're recovering from the mistakes together live on stream, which is, you know, it's kind of stressful for someone to do, but I figure I watch people do it, and so I don't have a problem with people watching me do it. I mess up all the time. It's no big deal. But that's when I stream Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. Saturdays are kind of like an extra day where I'm not usually constrained by time too much. And sometimes I'll do Arduino stuff. Sometimes I'll just make it kind of a random thing. But I really did want to get like some forward progress on this thing because it's a great idea. It's a great example that kind of brings together all the components that everybody would want to learn and work with. But I have experience doing it, so we're not really going to spend 6 months trying to figure out how do we get an EC2 instance running in the cloud. Is this a job or a hobby? Well, define this part, though. The streaming? The streaming is not a job for me. That's not my day job. My work encourages me to do it, but for example, when I do at least an hour of prep and 2 hours of streaming for Tuesday and Thursday, that is 6 hours a week plus Saturdays that are non-Monday through Friday. All that is like extra time. Yeah, my stream is it's a thing my work encourages, and they're gonna start, you know, they're helping to purchase equipment and maybe see how this can help the company too. But the actual streaming thing, that's all me. That's all me just wanting to do it. It's all my own time. I'm not getting paid for this. But if you did want to pay me for it, you absolutely could click that subscribe button because we did speed run to affiliate or bits or whatever people want to do. But if you did want to. My connection has been lagging and stalling so bad I've called up my ISP to upgrade my plan. I'm telling you, man, it's so bad. Like, it's bad as even just as a stream viewer, to get a plan. How did I get started off with programming? Did I go to university? You say uni in the UK. Yeah, it's university here. So I used to be a truck driver. So an over-the-road truck driver going to all over the U.S., Canada, and Mexico. And I purchased what used to be called an iBook with Apple. A little white iBook, G4. And I purchased that when I made a delivery to a mall in Michigan, to a JCPenney store. And the timing worked where the mall was open, and I walked in and I just purchased a laptop there in an Apple store that they had. It's one of the few. And I would hook up to truck stop Wi-Fi via that. And I started teaching myself how to program websites. Not program, but you know what I mean. How to make websites. And it just took off from there, where I gave up truck driving, sold my truck, and went back to college. And I think I might have been probably in my early 20s at that point when I went back. Maybe mid-20s or so. And worked toward a degree that I still didn't get. Sick origin story. Yeah, it's kind of crazy, right? Yeah, it's kind of crazy. Yeah, I haven't told it a lot, not on stream at least. But yeah, I went back. At that point, I was already married, had at least one kid, maybe two. Was living in, an apartment, doing part-time like pizza delivery, and putting myself through that kind of summer, the prep courses, and then the first semester of a full course load. Somewhere in there, I actually got a job as a student hourly working for my school within the university. So it was a school of informatics. And I got a job doing multimedia production and distribution. And from there, I then got hired by Indiana University proper out of that school, still as a student hourly, doing a lot of different things. I did a lot of projects. So essentially, I was working for the university in my freshman year doing the things that allegedly I was supposed to be taught in my CS classes and all that. And so I literally learned on the job and taught myself. Nothing that I learned, like they didn't even teach version control when I was in school. And from there, just progressed to professional staff at IU. Then I went to the private sector at a financial company, and then I went to a startup. I don't really know. I don't know a lot of that part. I worked mostly on the, not really on the broadcast side of the multimedia production. So it was more on the receive stuff, encoding, and distribution that way. It wasn't really more like live distribution. Live distribution was the only thing that existed was real-time streaming. And we didn't really do that. Mine was more the after-the-fact record all your classes and whatnot and encode it efficiently on hardware that was nowhere near powerful enough compared to what we have now, and then figure out clever ways to push the content out and manage different classes versus different semesters. My Echo Dot's firing up because I said computer. So hard to learn. I think, well, I don't know. Is it really that hard? Some things are hard. The difficult things are just difficult. They just are. But really, like, if it's more about the attitude. It's the attitude, and are you going to put in the time? And there's been a lot of times where I've put in 70, 80-hour weeks, particular jobs, just because it's what it takes. I've put in lots of extra outside time that I'm not even getting paid for, just to level up my skill set and keep them relevant and all that. So I don't know. I will tell you, that right now is the best time to get into it. There are so many resources and people that are willing to teach you uh, really high quality content out there. Like this is the best time to get into certain fields. But I don't like lumping like IT or computers into like a huge thing. It's just too vague. It doesn't mean anything to people. Depends on what you're interested in, you know? But as far as hard to learn, man, I had to take calculus 3 times before I passed. That was an expensive lesson. And I still barely passed. I just pulled it out in that last final exam. But there's certain things we're good at, certain things we're not. Like I'm doing some Arduino stuff these days. I have no idea what the hell I'm doing. Allegedly, computers run on all these things. I have no idea. Which one is best? That's really tough, man. I mean, if you think about streaming in general, aren't they all three related? Like, they're all kind of related when it comes to the new like Twitch streaming and YouTube streaming and any of that kind of thing. To get motivation and help because you suck at your course. I don't know. Yeah, Escherina, what is the thing that intrigues you the most? I mean, that's the thing is like, it's very difficult to be good at something that you're not very interested in. Like something in relation to sports, soccer, and football. If the person is in, you know, I don't want to call them out if they're not in the stream. Now it looks like maybe they may have bounced out. So I know a guy that actually does streaming for sports events. Like goes to the things and live streams from them with cameras and audio and mixers, and it's a live stream type thing. So there's absolutely a future in that. If you're wanting to go into the technology focused media part of it. But yeah, there's a future in that, man. I'm not saying man like I think you're a man. I don't know. It's just a bad habit. I need a break. Wrap up with my notes here. I need to make sure. Okay, lessons learned. We got this. We are going to need that later. We are going to need to do Docker pushes. Test the pull access. Workspace setup with state buckets and variables. Oh, I do know something we could do. I know something we could do. I don't know. I'm trying to keep an eye on the clock here. You did a web design course, but you use WordPress. WordPress still works. I'm not a fan. Yeah, I don't like WordPress. Not a fan. Used to use it a lot. Made a lot of money as a student hourly doing things on the side where I would recover and redo horribly designed and horribly coded websites that people farmed off to offshore resources that didn't care and just farmed crap out, and I'd have to fix people's stuff. Made good money at it. I did custom PHP sites too. I think I actually had a contribution included into a core PHP framework, CodeIgniter from Ellis Labs, way back in the day. Yeah, it all depends. You can make a business out of anything. It depends on, do you like doing it? Does it have a future? WordPress doesn't have a future, in my opinion. It died a long time ago. No reason for it. Other than people don't know what to do, and they're trying to copy-paste make websites for $5 grand a pop. But when the word gets out that, that's all gonna change. That's all gonna dry up. That's my opinion. Gatsby is the future. Gatsby and other things similar to it. The Jamstack is the future. The other thing that sucks is that WordPress was not designed to take to the cloud. It's horrible for it. It doesn't load balance well. It relies on shared state, so it's not stateless. It makes it very difficult. Yep, Gatsby is the other project that we have on this stream. I had put a pin in that because I figured that this was a thing that was already built that would be fairly easy to get going, because Gatsby's going to be the Gatsby dev blog that we're building is going to be a little bit different than what we're doing here. So when we're still going to need this and probably this, but we're not going to need any of this. The only difference is there's going to be buckets that are named different. We're not going to need any of this, so it's not really going to show the power of how Terraform workspaces work in the real world. So that's why I took Brave Cobra 2's suggestion to say, well, just take the existing GraphQL couple of servers and use that for the example, because it's more real world. You would want that running, quote. We'll probably use Fargate for this. But as far as Gatsby, none of any of this crap on the right-hand side will need to exist at all. It won't, because there's nothing going to be running. There'll be build systems, but you're just deploying it to a bucket with a CloudFront distribution and maybe invalidate something. So. Yeah, WordPress is mostly used by people with tiny budgets because it's really easy to just copy paste the same old bullshit. Which is fine. There's markets all up and down, you know. Kimbiko, my ISP, just sent this to me. It will revert to the standard price of full price per month, so professional. Landing BR, instead of having a server run your site, static sites have just plain HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, and you can push it to the cloud rather than needing a web server. Yeah. Oh, Escherina, don't even get me started on recruiters and whatnot. Yeah, the thing is, a static site bucket is also kind of a web server. Right? Like, it's serving files. There's even custom rewrite rules, and there's denial of service prevention, and there's CloudFront distributions that you can put in front of it. You can even restrict things down to, okay, if I'm based in the U.S. with a company, and there is still an executive order from President Obama about embargoed companies, you can actually use CloudFront to say, don't do any serving or anything in those embargoed countries. IP detection, you can put a web application firewall, you know, there's a lot of power in front of just what looks like an S3 bucket. Well, if they're two different recruiters, then try to play them against each other. Just say, so-and-so just told me X offer. See if they know each other and if they'll compete for you. I don't know, just an idea. I feel like you're talking about this like it's episode 50 of a TV series I've never watched. No offense. What should I start off with? Because I have no clue how the internet works, apparently. Yeah, I mean... What's episode 2? What's episode 1? Yeah, I mean, I get that feeling, and I don't have the best resources to start with. You gotta know when you jump in my stream. Yeah, Escherina, good. Jump in here, like, this is what I do. This is not, like, beginner stuff. So if people want beginner stuff, there are plenty of other streamers and whatnot. And the thing is, you gotta remember, you're jumping into a stream, right? So let's get metaphysical about this. When you are jumping into a stream, whether it be a Twitch stream that has multiple episodes and already a community of people, you are in the middle of it, and the onus is on you to figure your shit out. Now, the people around can kind of help and point to getting started and whatnot, but to put it in physical terms, it would be like jumping into a river and saying, why am I wet? Where is the mountain where the water melted off of, right? These are things that are like, they're a living thing. And I've jumped into some where I'm even relatively familiar with the topic, and I'm like, holy hell, y'all are too advanced. And I just put in the time. Just listen, take notes, ask questions, be like, what do you mean Jamstack? Where should I look that up? What do you mean Gatsby? Where should I look that up? But as far as like the beginning programming concepts, that's where you kind of have to maybe go to like a real learning resource like Udemy or Codecamp, or there. C# Fritz has a bunch of those listed. I think maybe down in an info panel. Maybe I'll do that. That may be helpful. But I guess that's my long-winded way of saying it's not that we don't want to help. It's that we're in the middle of a thing, and we're all learning together, doing a thing, and to have to go back and be like, how does the internet work? That's going to be problematic for like a live stream. I'm just letting you know because you'll run into that in other streams too. If you have that expectation, they'll be like, if it's a knife making stream, which there are, you're not going to be able to say, well, like, how do you sharpen it? Like the blacksmith is literally like on stream, like doing stuff with a hammer. It's like, I can't really teach you about what a metal is, that kind of thing. So that's my thoughts on that. We do have work to do, but I'm gonna pop off here. I got some stuff that I need to do to prepare for game day. In case you're not aware, the United States NFL is having divisional playoff games this weekend, and my home team, who was not predicted to do shit, is in a divisional game. And so also the Eagles, which C# Fritz, he's a huge fan. He's a Philly native among several other awesome streamers. They're also in the divisional. I think they're playing tomorrow, maybe at 1 or 4 Eastern. So been a little bit longer stream. I'll do some cleanup here. I'll try to fix up that repo a bit more. I know I keep saying that and I never do it, but now I actually have time because I get like 3 days, Sunday, Monday, 2 days off from streaming, so I can actually do that stuff. But again, if you have suggestions for the stream, put them here, make an issue. If you want to, let me know what your... Yeah, what are we... Yeah, Rambling Geek. So if nobody has given Rambling Geek a follow, I highly encourage you to do that. We are going to get to that goal. I think that's coming up in less than an hour. I wish I could go an hour. No, I can't raid because I can't go on for another hour. I think he's starting in an hour. Ancient Coder. And again, we got to work out our timing and whatnot. So I think, I don't know. Let me look and see. Do we have any friendlies? You're live now? Heck, do it. We're gonna do this. All right, we're gonna raid over. Perfect. So I think I just do that. Yeah, alright, well, I'm gonna do this. Here we go. 8 seconds. Countdown. Stay around right here or follow after and check out Rambling Geek. Thank you all. Escherina, I appreciate it. I will see you on the flip side.